breakfast cereals from the UK, the persimmons from Israel, the strawberries from the US, the watermelons from Malaysia. This is just a short list of what we can all easily spot when we go to our local supermarkets. They are only available thanks to international trade. Trade has played an important role in supporting economic development and promoting peaceful relations among nations. Trade has been taking place since the early days of the Silk Road, but it has only reached such a global scale thanks to globalization. And one international organization that strongly promotes globalization is WTO. World Trade Organization is an international organization established to set and enforce rules regarding international trade. Joining an international organization like WTO is advantageous and is more of a boon for small countries like Singapore, as it can provide Singapore with security, trade opportunities, and give them a stronger voice in the international scheme of things. WTO is not the first international trade agreement signed. Before the WTO, there was a General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, which was signed after World War II to boost economic recovery. WTO was formed on 1st of January 1995, which marked the biggest reform of international trade since the end of the Second World War. Whereas the GATT mainly dealt with trade in goods, the WTO and its agreements also covered trade in services and intellectual property. The birth of WTO created new procedures for the settlement of disputes. Trade is extremely important to Singapore. The Singapore economy is mainly driven by exports in electronic manufacturing and machinery, financial services, and tourism. We import and export so much on a daily basis. International trade can only take place thanks to our connections with other countries, otherwise known as globalization. As a small country with a small domestic market and not much significant resources, we are forced to trade to make up for our economy's inability to produce anything competitively. With trade making up a huge part of our economy, I think it is essential for Singapore to be part of the World Trade Organization so that we can have a say in international trade. Whilst Singapore was in the WTO, she had the opportunity to sign free trade agreements with other countries. The European Union Singapore Free Trade Agreement, (EUFSTA), is one of them, and it is the first free trade agreement between the European Union and an ASEAN country. Singapore and the EU were important trade and investment partners to each other. In 2018, bilateral trade in goods exceeded 114 billion. In the same year, the EU was Singapore's third largest goods trading partner, while Singapore was EU's largest goods trading partner in ASEAN. Here are some more benefits from signing this one agreement. This is why I believe being an international organization like WTO is so important to Singapore, as they provide us with so many opportunities and keep our economy running. However, recently, WTO has been overshadowed by new TIPP trade deals. These trade deals are negotiated away from WTO and focus mainly on the US and the EU. It excludes other countries, including Singapore. One problem WTO faces is the difficulty of making progress. It is difficult to form consensus for WTO trade deals. Various rounds have taken many years to slowly progress. It results in countries seeking alternatives such as TIPP or local bilateral deals. These new trade deals are made outside of WTO, challenge the leadership and importance of WTO, and undermine the power that WTO is supposed to hold. Speaking about power, WTO is supposed to prevent trade wars and help facilitate trade. However, WTO does not take impactful actions against these powerful nations like America when they are breaking the rules. For example, Mr. Trump has been singling out particular countries, including China and Mexico, for punitive tariffs way in excess of those imposed on imports from other countries, a practice that is almost certainly outlawed by the World Trade Organization. His actions have affected the free flow of goods in the world and have affected many countries. Here, we can see the effects felt by Singapore's businesses, which shows how it has already affected us. Here is a slide explaining 3 layers of the impacts of this war. Despite all this, no actions have been taken against him, and the WTO has allowed this America-China tariff war to continue to snowball, despite it being clearly against the aims and rules of WTO. If WTO does not take actions against America, who has been targeting countries just because they are strong, how will WTO be able to stop other countries from targeting smaller countries like Singapore and protect them? In the face of bilateral and multilateral trade agreements, in the current form of WTO, where it has no power to prevent stronger countries from hijacking it, it is losing its relevance to smaller countries like Singapore. Despite this, there are still advantages for being in WTO for now. Singapore's strength lies in our geological location, and international trade is what keeps us going. Although WTO seems to be losing its relevance, there has been talks to make changes to WTO and make it better for us smaller countries. The benefits brought to us thanks to these economic agreements are what keeps our economy running and successful as a nation. Hence, it is still beneficial for us to remain in WTO for now.